Sorry, just for John to come back in the city.
The one for the server room was not included in that count. That's an add-on, so that would make 8 total units.
Okay,
And that's the units that I have shown here is the 4 at the crisis center, the one at the elections in the server room. And these, what I was talking with Ron is these units, when they come in, I think that these were supposed to be out of ARPA funds.
No. Not those, because the crisis center has its own source of funding.
Okay. So the units and the work that goes with the crisis center is not going to be going to ARPA.
no,
That's right. I was thinking about this after talking to Ron yesterday. We need to, our intent on the ARPA was to keep it as simple as we can and put everything in jail.
Yeah.
Just one project,
yeah,
trying to help Brad out a little.
yeah,
So we, and the rest, we have a reserve line item out of reserves that we're paying for. I can't remember what that was on the spreadsheet. But, you know, that's where those need to be billed. Probably overspend his budget.
Right, this
After
this
what we
was
have allowed
my
for
budget.
ARPA.
So, okay, so instead of using the ARPA funds for. So we're done with ARPA then on the HVAC project.
I think we were talking about ARPA being this building, and then Steve got a little excited.
yeah,
Came up with a plan for the whole county, which is fine, because then you have a schedule to take care of them. But at some point, if the ARPA money is spent, we'll probably need to check with Brad. If the ARPA money that we had dedicated for HVAC is gone, then we need to kick it over out of your budget to have a budget opening to move those reserves, pay for it by the end of the year.
A budget opening into the building and grounds account.
With the exception of the crisis center. Because
Okay.
Krista's got a fund there, can't remember, is John on?
no, she's just recording it for him.
Oh, where is he?
He's at Rigby at that assessor's training thing.
Okay. Let's see how much. What was the
We're
question?
talking about
Crisis Center.
crisis center, the ARPA money and
Crisis,
opening his budget.
crisis center has a line item, I can't remember what was left in there, but there were no restrictions on. That we had built up over time, that we don't owe the state back anything.
Yeah.
And that was going to be used for all things crisis. I think for the roof
All
repair.
building improvements on the crisis center.
Yeah, trying to get that building.
But it's just
So
one line in their budget. That's
It's under,
unrestricted.
there's 2 lines in crisis center,
Okay,
and one of them.
I'll print out a budget,
let me see.
report on it.
Out here.
Okay, so on the HVAC units in the other buildings. We're going to take those out of the building and ground budget here.
Except elections, because elections was on its own ARPA project.
Okay, the election building though is gonna go to ARPA money, because there's still work that's gonna be done at the election
There's-
building.
You're talking
Old
old elections.
elections or new
Oh,
elections?
Yeah, you're
new
talking-
elections.
Okay, so
Okay,
Mike said that he had money to do the server room HVAC. And I'm not sure if that's supposed to come out of my budget or his budget.
I think it should come out of your budget just to account for it better, because then we've got it scattered every place. Yeah.
Okay,
so all these projects where Steve had ordered all this. We don't. As long as you're aware, it's not budgeted for right now, so it will require a budget opening later.
So the thing that we probably need to know is how much is the reserve we set aside for HVAC?
The ARPA reserve,
You know, ARPA reserve and our reserve on our spreadsheet.
okay,
What did we call that? You know, when we went.
future needs,
Future needs that we had to allocate for the state. You know, because that's the project, now that you've got the year end closed out,
Oh, yes.
this project we need to get going on. So that we can update that project.
So John was asking about these overages on my budgets, and one of the items that had run over was the parking lots. And Ron said that maybe I should not be doing this verbally, and maybe I should have some documentation to back up these decisions that we're doing. I don't know exactly how to do that. Would I put that down as a proposal? I've run all of the quotes that we get from the contractors through you guys
Yeah,
for approval.
We look at them and approve them, so we've authorized going over and. It's in the current expense fund. Question is, do you want building grounds to go over and balance it in the current expense fund, or do we want to transfer reserves out?
It just has to be within budget at the fund level. Penny likes it if each department stays within their budget. And if they don't, then
Then if
there's a
it's-
budget opening, but
Then if
the
it's-
documentation is what seems to be lacking here sometimes is, and I told Devin, maybe just an email to him. I gave you the proposal in our meeting.
We usually.
This is the summary of it. And
Right, that's why I've been so,
Yeah, that's what.
in any spending that I've been bringing, and anything over $1,000, I've been bringing to you guys for
Right,
authorization.
and we've initialed those.
Right.
So those are what you need.
so when you put those into accounts payable, put that initial thing in with the bill. And it's right there and everybody has access to it.
Right,
Keep a
that,
folder on it.
so that initial quote, for the vendor, like this elevator project that we've got, the fire system is about ready to send me a quote to redo the phones for the courthouse.
I thought we had the phones all taken care of with the cell phone thing.
Okay, so the fire services have to tie the phones into the fire system.
Okay,
So they're gonna tie the
So,
phones that
so
we put
the
in.
area of refuge phones are tied into the fire system for monitoring
okay, so this is work that the fire system has to do to,
to go with the elevator.
I'm really starting to hate
I
elevators.
know.
So I sent a bill for, I think it was $20,000 to update the panel at the DMV. And the phones at the DMV, because the panel had to be upgraded because the phones couldn't be addressed with the old panel.
Did we put elevators in for ARPA money? I don't think we did.
That's the part I don't know. I felt like we were going forward with the elevators, but I don't know which accounts it's supposed to go to.
We weren't using ARPA for that.
Any recollection of work in elevators?
We've got two options. Either we have a future needs line to take it out of, or we take it out of general fund contingency. Or I guess three options out of the two is transfer from general fund contingency into his budget, make a memo entry. That's probably the simplest. And then you've got the true value of his budget. Although a lot of these are going to be one time that we're not going to do next year, so we need to make sure they're not carried on in the budget.
If you'd rather that his was over budget, I really don't care as long as,
Ask Penny.
yeah, that's the part I care about.
Did you ever get an answer on the 50 cents?
Yes. We reallocated 50 cents of that last month's expense into general operations.
Okay.
So that
50 cents.
the Eastern Idaho Public Health budget was not over.
It
It'll
came
show
in
this
50
over.
payment came in 50 cents higher than budget. Penny. She said it's a dedicated fund. I don't think it is.
We just
She
didn't
just
want,
wanted it. that
she
way.
didn't want the budget to show that we were over budget for the year, so that when
Okay.
she publishes that We didn't exceed the budget.
Okay, so that, well, maybe it's a separate line item, then maybe that's her concern. She doesn't want to show it over budget in the publication.
That's it. She doesn't want it to be over in the publication.
Makes sense.
And internally, in general, in current expense, it's the general line. I would prefer, with my accounting background, to have the memo entry so that our budget is not over budget and you adjust it on the current expense. And then you have actual expenditures instead of overspending. How would you prefer it? The guy who does it?
I would prefer that when the people who get the bill and enter it and are supposed to watch it as they're entering it in accounts payable. And when the approver sees that it's over budget, they stop it right there and we fix it before we get to this point. That's the easiest
Okay.
way.
But you're talking about two different things.
Yeah.
You're talking about the
You're talking prior, I'm
You're
talking
talking about
about
the
the
health.
fix.
health fund and you're talking about.
Well, I'm
Okay.
talking about the fix.
The
that
fix
you're
on the
saying
50 cents.
We need, well, yeah,
Yeah.
that was a small example.
Okay.
But see, you're talking about, okay, the supervisor needs to notify you on how to fix it. So
Well,
my
they-
suggestion is, how do you fix it?
There's two options. You either have a budget opening for the difference. So there's room in the budget. Or you take part of the expense on the second option and you charge that portion of the expense to some other fund, if you can.
Or you do a memo, taking up from one line item to another.
Well, what line item would you,
Current,
East-
current expense general.
well,
Contingency.
that's what we did with the 50 cents, though. We took it 50 cents from there
Right,
and moved it over to public health.
so that's why my options grew from 2 to 3, so there is also that option. If you want a bunch of journal entries,
Not really,
okay.
but
Penny's got to worry about the look of funds that are overspent, so she should be involved in this.
So when it's published, it's just general fund, everything in general. I'd say current expense, like maintenance, does it just published at,
Trying to remember the
she
different
publishes it
breakdowns.
at the department level for the current
Okay.
expense fund, and she also publishes the justice fund at the department level. The others, I believe, are all just at the fund level. I'll
But,
show you one.
yeah, but inside that, there's a general and current expenses that she publishes.
General operations.
Yeah.
There is.
I'll use the right terminology, general operations then. Which you could lower that and raise his budget. Or you could just leave it showing overspent as long as the fund is not overspent.
When we're within the fund, and in this case, we would be. I've been allowed in the past, as long as we don't exceed what the published budget was, to just transfer budget from one department. To another department.
Okay, and that's what I mean by, do
That's
you
what-
need a memo or do you just transfer?
No, on that, I want a minute entry,
Okay,
so that it doesn't look like I'm just moving budget money around wherever I feel like.
okay, but that's when you just said you would not prefer not to have to do that.
Now, that one's an easy one, if it's just moving the journal entries. Like on Eastern Idaho Public Health, where 50 cents of that expenditure that was put in public health. To then move 50 cents of it into general operations. I'd rather not do that one.
so it would be easier if when they see that it's gonna go over, instead of finishing that. Entry for that invoice, that they put that on a different line at that time, instead of having to fix it after the fact. But so if whoever's entering is just careful that,
Okay, but do you want maintenance going into the general, so you have two expenditures there, or do you want the expenditures held at maintenance? Go ahead.
my thought is, it's great to have the expenses in maintenance, and so that's fine. I think we're talking about.
That's what we've been
two
doing,
different
right?
things.
Yeah,
We've just been carrying those expenses in my budget, and when I go over, I've been very antsy for the first few times I've been here, that, the John is wanting me to be more definitive about where I am in my budget. I believe he's trying to make sure that I'm spending everything correctly, but the account shows that several accounts are already over. And so I'm trying to justify to him what's causing this, or how do I stay on top of this budget is what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so I think we're talking about the same thing. I just maybe don't explain it in your terms. You know, because that's what I'm thinking, you just do the minute entry, or if you're going to take it out of that other line, when you take it out of there, it's gonna show up in two different places in this budget.
Within a department, on all the different lines that they have in their budget. I don't care, I personally don't care if a line is over budget.
But in this particular case, we've had a lot of these one-time extra projects that.
In the
budget
department
for.
over budget.
Yeah, so I think you keep it in the proper line, and if it goes over, it goes over. You want to have just one spot to look at it if possible. If the department isn't going to go over budget because other lines are under budget, great, then you don't have to do anything.
But I think they will in this one.
They
So would it be
probably-
easier to do a budget opening? You know, because we'll usually have to do 2 or 3.
Save it up towards the end of the year. Penny likes to do them towards the end of the
We're gonna
fiscal
have-
year.
We're gonna have to do one on the road projects.
So is there a line, or can we, and I don't know if we can do this at this time with this budget, can you create a line that is for the unplanned for projects that weren't built into the budget? A line for
That's what I would like to
capital-
see. If I,
In your budget,
capital
yeah,
items or
in
something.
my budget, if I knew that I was. Like, I know that the elevator modernization isn't gonna happen every year. So if there was a place that I could say, well, let's put it in this account, and then it doesn't drive all of the accounts over.
Just a line, even just a line, if all of your
Right.
unexpected that are extra, okay, this wasn't in my budget, but it's been approved to go ahead and spend that money, can we put it in a separate line? It's all
That-
tracked in
that
one
would-
line,
That would make me feel better,
I think
because
that's a
I would
good
say,
idea.
then you can try to keep your planned expenses within
Under-
that budget, within
on,
the
on that,
budget. And then you're not showing those other lines going over.
right?
You're just seeing this one line that is obviously gonna be over because you didn't have anything budgeted. Now, I don't know if you can add a line at this point or not, but
Um,
in the future at least.
we added one last year for custodial supplies. That was custodial
Don't
paper.
know, because it's not in the budget, so I don't know if you can add an extra line.
well, a line, because all that's published in this is. I'm
It's the
not
bottom
sure.
line.
Yeah, this is in the general operations, or is it building grounds, is that published a line department?
By department, so building and grounds will be published as a total.
So you could add a line anytime in there inside of that.
And then
Yep.
if you're going to open the budget and put more in there, then it won't show his budget being way over if you can use that out of
Do
a
that.
contingency
No,
or
that's-
something.
I think that's a
lot
great
easier
idea.
way to keep track.
Yeah. And that helps keep track of the expenses too, because I think that's John's concern is. We just want to make sure things aren't being spent where they shouldn't be spent.
Sure,
Now, if it's an elevator or another heater that you didn't plan on, that has to be done.
right. The question that I've been having is, when I know that it's supposed to go out of, but like the parking lots, I think it goes in my budget, but I don't know how often it comes up. And you're more familiar with how often they've been doing that, but that was a surprise in my budget, and
It was a-
that's
It was a last minute decision because of what they were doing at the election building.
sure,
And his price was pretty reasonable,
right,
and he could do all of them together
right,
instead of one each year.
right,
Because the one on the law enforcement parking lot, if we didn't do that this year, you know, you already get big cracks and everything, it's
Yeah.
gonna go to pieces.
We've got several parking lots that are full of potholes now, and I'm like, well, what am I supposed to be doing?
Okay, now that you've done those, is you project those for this year's budget. You know, I want to do.
That's the
annex.
forecasting.
Yeah.
That we should say, put this into next year's budget. Like the front steps are cratering on the courthouse. They're breaking down.
Yeah, just put it in for next year's budget. We'll
Okay.
get by with it this
Are
time.
you thinking of totally replacing them?
I'm not sure. We did crack repair and patches, and most of the cracks and the stuff still, broke out. We've got several great big chunks of step that's gone.
Well, the history behind that is they were looking at be tremendously expensive to replace that. And where we took that, and that now it's not a main entrance, it doesn't have near the traffic. So I think we thought that the patching would last.
We could patch it a couple more years. I just don't know how you guys feel about it. And if you guys are like, hey, we want it to look perfect and not patched, then I can put concrete, I can knock it out and put patches back in, but it's gonna start to look.
You what?
If we replace them, we could put them back in heated.
I don't know that it's.
There you're talking big money.
It would be nice, but I don't, that's what I'm saying. We could get some quotes.
Well,
I just don't know what the amount is that we would want to do, and I don't know what you guys. I feel like sometimes if I get a quote for a roof or I get a quote, I feel like I'm commissioning work. I'm not really commissioning, I'm presenting options and let you guys make your
that's where you
choices.
should present them during the budget request.
Okay,
And then we can take a look, do we want to do steps this year, or do we want to? Because some of that we can take out of our reserves.
Yeah.
But, you know, the problem we've had now is all of a sudden, you know, Steve ordered all this HVAC and we're trying to get that done before we start on something else. We had to
Sure.
kind of put the brakes on that because he was gonna go do them all at once.
well, I'm still trying to get a proposal from Art for the prosecuting attorneys. Do you want me to hold off on that?
What's the need?
Um,
So Steve was arguing that we could turn it to natural gas and save money, but with natural gas going up, I'm not sure it is.
I see.
So then the question is, are they close enough to failure? You know, you could put a
These
heat
ones
pump
that are gray and blue, that on the spreadsheet, those are the ones that we've had. And if you, at the old elections, where, we were doing this server room, there's a bunch of, gray ones there, but the DMV is, and the annex is the next, biggest group of, blue and gray units that we haven't addressed.
And we don't have those ordered or.
No, those aren't ordered.
I say we wait
Those
till,
are the ones we put the stop to.
yeah,
Steve was just going ahead and ordering everything and it show up and then we were locked in doing it. You know, and then, but that's another this year's budget
yeah,
discussion.
So put it to the next year's budget.
Yeah, and decide, you know, then we can look at it and say, okay, what's more important?
Okay.
A, B, and C on rooftops or the front stairs.
Mhm.
who determined that these gray ones are getting to the end of their life?
The years, the
You're
one-
just going off. of
we're just
how
going
many
off of
years.
the year.
Yeah, I don't.
The
I
blue
I'd let 'em
ones
run.
are 30+ years. The gray ones are 20 to 29 years. And that's all we used is the dates.
But you could also take a look at, you know, expected failures in there, put a block of money.
Yeah,
to just deal with them as they fail,
That's about,
unless they're the only. Unit in that building. Because the prosecutor's office, if one of them fails, they got 4 of them, right?
Right,
If one of them fails, you're still gonna be able to heat the building.
right.
Or you get it replaced.
But they were trying to merge those 4 into 2 units. And I've got a proposal from Art of how that would work. He's working up a bid for that. So,
Bring it to budget time.
okay,
But I do like this idea if you can. I don't know who makes those line items, probably Ron. Just yeah, just create a line item in his budget and then we track them separately. So that we're not overspending those lines, because. You know, we're trying to do that, for example, in the sheriff's office with the ambulance expenses. And it's a challenge to try to get it, but we need to do the same thing here.
okay. I like that.
Because I do think John's right, you know, because he wants to be able to see, okay, you're budgeting this much for cleaning expenses, you're spending this much,
Right.
you know, doesn't get us confusing.
So on those HVAC units that are supposed to ship on the 24th of May, you're still gonna go ahead with those? And we're gonna put them in,
But those
or
are
we
gonna
pick
be
our
on
bid or the
budget
reserve.
that we open.
Yeah, put those in this new line that you're talking about, that's an easier way.
I'll get you an ARPA report too today, show you where we are on ARPA right now and how much is
Yeah.
left.
Just check with Brad if he doesn't, if we're kind of done with the HVAC that he was gonna turn in. And he's already turned it in. Let's not. Open that. Can of worms for him. He's got a new baby coming, we have to cut him some slack.
But you have to get him used to a lot more stress and sleepless
Yeah.
nights, and so we need to really file it on.
Did you ever watch Tim Allen, Tool Time? Yeah. He said, you know, the thing I found is the older I got, the harder it was to go, honey, the baby's crying.
Okay, so we can open up new line on big projects like that, but you're not saying that. For example, if their cleaning supplies expense had hit the budget and they were gonna go beyond it to open up another line for, but the big projects.
Yeah, if you get the big projects out of there, hopefully the cleaning expense lines,
Will show.
you haven't been putting them in there anyway.
No.
have you? But you
But
do have,
we did go a little, we bought more salt this year than we have ever before, but
that's easier to explain in that line
Sure.
item. But have we put? Trying to remember your budget, I thought we had a line for maintenance. Maintenance items, you know, when you have something break down.
yes, that's 52,030 is the maintenance line items.
And see, that's the question is, should these come out of that? If it's a breakdown, probably. If it's a replacement this year, probably not. And it'll clean itself up in the future when we get these projects done.
Sure.
So you'd want to have 2 maintenance lines then. Ordinary maintenance and beyond budget maintenance.
Yeah, because, you know, there's some of these things that come up and, you know, like parking lots. That were convenient at the time, but it made more sense because it got us a better deal, because it didn't have to get in and mobilize.
Or maybe we should say planned for maintenance and unplanned maintenance.
Okay. That answered?
Yeah. That
Does that help you? with
yes.
Bills come in to be able to code them
yes,
and get them over here on time.
I was feeling like that they still fall under the maintenance, but I was saying which maintenance? Is it a project? Project 1, 2, 3, which project is it? Or is it in this unplanned maintenance item? That's what I was asking John the other day before he left, and he said that was better answered by you guys.
Yeah. Well, this is an unusual occurrence. It's probably not gonna happen again because we had all that ARPA money.
Yeah,
Trying to figure out how to upgrade everything we could. You know, to take care of some of our deferred maintenance items. So. But that came with its own confusion.
yeah, it did.
So you can. Blame whoever's responsible for COVID.
Somebody got me COVID. I
Must have
don't
been the
know
health,
who it was.
must have been the health district. They got
Yeah,
blamed for
sure
everything.
it
on
was.
COVID.
I'm sure it was. Okay, is that all on bills?
I think so.
Okay. We've got road and bridge starting pretty soon, so I was
Okay.
looking over the rest of these items and some I've got questions on. Men entering women's restroom at the MV.
Yeah,
What's
that-
that about?
There's been Spanish people coming in the women's bathroom,
Okay,
and they wanted a Spanish door sign, and the partition on the inside is a curtain. They can just walk through the curtain and into the stall, and the women want to have a door petition. The petition, I think that curtains were there so that we could meet ADA compliance. And I don't know who to, I think last meeting we talked about it and John said, ask. I don't remember who.
Who is it? Who's the building official?
Ron? Or, yeah, Ron Anderson. Is that who you're talking about?
Austin will be walking in here before you leave.
Ask to Austin,
to find out
the ADA
Yeah,
compliance.
I think that is right.
I'm sure we could buy some stalls and put some stalls in there, but I think it's gonna narrow it so that we
What
can't.
type of signs do you have? in-
Right now, they've just printed some signs
We
on
don't,
paper,
Men and hombres.
so we've got bilingual bathrooms.
They all know
you've
what
got
man
men
means.
of hundreds,
It doesn't require all grade.
I don't know, I don't speak Spanish.
hombres,
Hombres.
operas is hungry.
Hombre.
No, but I mean, that's, I'm surprised we don't have a fixed, sign, whether it says men or women, but have the figure there. We don't have that.
The what? Oh, the male and female.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, a permanent one is.
Well, no, not a permanent one.
Why don't we have a permanent one?
We
there?
just had men and women on the door, and now they've printed one. And taped it to the door. That's
Why don't
what
you-
we've got.
Why don't you get those blue ones on the side, because those have to be readily available.
We'll get
someplace.
those.
Get those put on. And then the other one, carpet one floor, yeah, Ron, thank you. Thank you, Kenny. Tanya.
The carpet one flooring, that was this proposal that we had talked about. As the prosecuting attorney, they have had the toilet flood and it went through the floor and under the floor, and the floor has bubbled.
Oh,
And we got a quote from Carpet One for the two at the prosecuting attorney and one in the DMV basement where we were gonna do that jackhammering.
mhm.
Well, when the upstairs bathroom flooded, inside two of the offices in the basement, people have in their offices put in their own LED. And now when it flooded, it went under there, and now I've got to know, are we gonna reinstall their floor in their offices?
That's at the DMV
At the
building.
DMV.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that we ever laid that. I think that the people that are in those offices just put it over the top of their carpet.
Revenues go
Really?
down.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
if, and I don't know
Yeah.
that,
Well, mold.
yeah, and I'm concerned about that right now, but this is the cost, and John said he knew somebody that worked at the crisis center doing maintenance, and he wanted to compare costs of what they're charging versus what Carpet One is. Carpet One is the ones that installed the flooring upstairs at the DMV. And I've discussed this with him, because you put this stuff in kitchens, you put it in break rooms, you put it in bathrooms. All of those are open around the edge, and once the water gets under those tiles, then we've got to pull them up and relay them. Right now, the guys are over trying to figure out how to get the flooring reinstalled over at the public defenders, because we cleaned the floors over there and then the floors came up. So there it was, they spilled a mop bucket and in the room. And I know that we're gonna have toilets flood and water get under these
What?
vinyl plank.
4H, they had that coating. And I don't know if you could do it on the wood floor, but when they coat it up on the sides,
The red guard.
I'm not sure what it's called, but yeah,
it might cost a little more, but it might be
Yeah.
worth long term. Especially in a basement.
What I had talked with John is on long term, putting this vinyl planking in rooms where we have water, it's always gonna get around and underneath it. And I don't want to have to reinstall every time we have a
so what
flood,
would you rather see, put
a different type of flooring. That's what I
just a
was,
vinyl?
Is it
Yeah.
concrete?
well, you could put you
Is it
know how
on?
you do a shower pan for a shower?
Yeah,
You could put vinyl on the floor and then do this planking. But
Yeah, but why?
you're still gonna get water under it and have
It's
to
on
reinstall.
concrete though, isn't it?
In the DMV basement, there's concrete, but in the prosecuting attorneys, it's wood, and the wood has bubbled and swollen. They're
Well,
pretty floors, but I'm worried if I get water underneath it at the DMV,
Linoleum, they can coat the
Yeah.
linoleum. and
yeah,
they'll Put it up higher, that's as cheap as the wood plank, in fact, a little cheaper than wood plank, isn't it?
well, the vinyl planking is what they put in the
Right.
entranceway at the DMV.
The planking, wood or vinyl.
Yeah. I think it's great stuff. I just don't think it's holding up to the water in the long run. I'm worried about when I clean the floor over at the DMV with the auto scrubber that it's gonna hold the floor up.
well, then I would put down what you think will hold up to the water.
So,
Don't worry about the wood planking, just put down, I mean, we're talking a bathroom, it doesn't have to
sure.
look beautiful, put down what's gonna hold